Boruto has returned to Konoha for the third time, and now he is in the middle of a panicking situation. Not only he got a deal with Kawaki, save Himawari, but he will also need to look after the safety of everyone else in the village. This means there might be some more casualties out of his control, but the main question remains, how will he protect the blue eyes that are the most precious to him? Well, whether it's related to the prophecy of Momoshiki or not, the ultimate test of Boruto right now is gonna be Himawari and how he protects her. Last time we saw Jura sensing some special power radiating from Himawari, the same power that was apparently born after Naruto got sealed in chapter 77. Earlier I thought these two events might be connected. Kurama might have reborn inside Himawari after the only person who could save the world from Shinjus was locked up. But what made more sense was the possibility of Naruto getting sealed, just so he would never find the Ten Tails power that Himawari had started to produce. The interruption of Daemon not only prevented us from knowing the explanation behind this power, but it also kept Himawari safe from getting sealed by Kawaki, which would have obviously affected the whole direction of the story. But even after being blessed with such a humongous power, does she really need to be protected? What if she loses control of her inner beast, similar to what happened in the anime? She could give the Shinju a fair fight in that way, but is it actually her turn to shine right after this moment? I think the answer is no. Even though she has some bone-chilling power radiating inside of her, it's important to know that she has no idea about it. The dialogue of Daemon upon feeling her power doesn't seem to ring the bell for her, so she seems to have a long way to go before unveiling her Ten Tails form. Although I'm expecting an uncontrollable mode from her in the future, it will certainly take some time for her to master the inner beast. Now this is where Boruto and Kawaki come into play. The inferiority of Himawari has transferred the role of her protection to the Kama duo. No one else can save her from the wrath of Shinjus, and I believe she would be the reason for both of them to unite for a while. It was actually foreshadowed in Boruto opening 10 Gold. Not to mention there were many instances when some huge plot was foreshadowed in the anime and opening theme songs, so it's very less likely for this potential foreshadowing to be a coincidence. Opening 10 shows us the joint mission of Konoha 11 and how they end up retrieving Himawari from some enemy. Furthermore, we could see Boruto and Kawaki in the middle of a sunflower field, most likely teasing their temporary collab to protect Himawari. Mitsuki and Sarada can be seen on the side of Kawaki, symbolizing the aftermath of omnipotence. Even though both of them know the truth, they will need to pretend in this mission to save themselves from Kawaki. The whole vast situation from the early days of the Kawaki arc could also be a possible symbolism for what's about to happen. Look at how Kawaki broke the vase of Himawari and then tried his best to fix it. Maybe the flower vase is foreshadowing Himawari herself and how Kawaki's negligence is going to make her a victim of the Shinju. Not saying they will devour on her, rather they could kidnap her to figure out the truth behind her power, something that she herself has no idea about. The whole part of Kawaki fixing what he broke could symbolically refer to the efforts that he will ambitiously put to get Himawari back. This includes getting more stronger alongside shaking hands with the person he hates the most. I really believe if something like this happens, forcing Boruto and Kawaki to form an alliance, it will help in shaping the beliefs of Kawaki towards Boruto. It's unlikely for him to believe the threat of Momoshiki is gone unless he gets some solid proof, and by looking at the battle IQ and powers that Boruto has developed over the last 3 years, it will be clear to him that he's no longer a threat. The things will eventually transcend into another arc where Kawaki's views on shinobi system will change. Chances are he will start having those realizations after being under the influence of Shinjus, but the chances for Boruto to make him feel the shinobis need to be eliminated is also high. Not just because of jealousy, but also the greater realization of what this world truly needs. Boruto's way of doing things will only make him reflect on his realizations once he reaches the pinnacle of his potential. The crazy part is that the main villains right now, the living god trees, are not particularly a bad or misled gang of people. Rather, they are newborn individuals who are trying to understand this world, that too at a time when the whole reality has been flipped upside down. This dynamic is really interesting since what they learn about this world is false, which means they would have interpreted things differently if omnipotence hadn't happened. Now there are some good reasons for Kawaki to be the focal point of Shinjus after Himawari. He literally has the same goals as them, and as we have seen Matsuri acknowledging the fate of Code, it's not out of question for these creatures to sneak into the destiny of Kawaki as well. Jura even saw the fate of Boruto, but just because it's all linked to genetics as said by Ishiki, it seems like Kawaki will hold a mighty fate as the Otsutsuki himself. The celestial genes have already predetermined a path for him. His destiny took a 360-degree turn with the karma he no longer suffered and ended up becoming the reason for the suffering of others. powers. All of it was possible due to the fate of Ishiki that was implemented in him in the form of the karma. The Shinjus would definitely want someone with the mighty fate on their side, similar to how Momoshiki chose Boruto as his vessel due to the interesting fate that he bore. Now here comes the really interesting part. I think the hunt of knowledge and wisdom of these conscious tentails will have a conclusion at some point, especially Jura, who is too obsessed to know about this reality that he has been born in. One of the sensible conclusions for him could be to merge with someone who bears a mighty fate, a great destiny which can't be overwritten, and Kawaki is the perfect fit for this. Momoshiki chose Boruto cause he was dwelling an interesting fate than him, a fate where the boy got so powerful in a couple of years that making him the vessel is no less than a jackpot for Momoshiki. He is getting more powerful without the effort of making a change, and even though he is under control right now, the patience and hope still lies within him. Same is the case with Jura. The easiest way for him to overcome the unexpectedness of his destiny is to merge with an individual who has a predictable fate. In this case it's Kawaki, and I think this fate-seeing power doesn't let an individual see his own future, so it makes sense to just look around and gamble on the most predictable vessel, rather than following an uncanny path of life where nothing is guaranteed. The Shinjus are slaves to their instinctive nature. They don't hold a logical purpose and are mostly driven by their gut. I think it would be more practical for them to just lend their powers to someone who really has a purpose alongside merging with their consciousness just to see how it goes. Well, that was how Himawari's abduction would lead to a domino effect, transcending us to the events of the prologue. The destruction was yet again foreshadowed in the recent chapters when Boruto referenced the worst possible future alongside knowing about things that he wasn't supposed to have any knowledge about. The whole Shinju situation is an example of this. But does it mean that foresight has returned to the story? While Boruto has mentally merged with Momoshiki, it's clear that he will have access to his powers as well. This includes the power to see the future, which means he already knows what's about to come. The flash forward also confirms this, with Boruto saying was this the only possible outcome, meaning that he tried his best to change the future but failed horribly. The concept of existential absurdism clearly explains the circumstances of Boruto. He knew his efforts are meaningless, but he still made them hoping for a change. The hope is what led him this far. He became a lot more powerful individual and even went beyond the curse of what Momoshiki had predicted for him. But looking at how the future was never meant to be changed, what if Momoshiki's prophecy is actually true and there will come a time when Boruto loses all the hope? He would see his whole life falling apart, all the efforts would go vain, and the only thing he would desire would be to escape. And this is when Momoshiki's patience will pay off and he will take over the identity of his vessel forever. The only plot device that contradicts this possibility is the Jogan. It's regarded as the star of hope, which means when Boruto loses all the practical ways of empowering himself with faith, the Jogan will manifest to help him. Let me know in the comments if I should bring a full video on this in the future. A few more things that I'm expecting in this chapter is the invasion of Masuri and Bug Shinju, the meetup of Sarada and Hidari, and possibly a glimpse of Daemon's full power. We haven't seen the cyborg kid with his full potential, and since the things have now gotten serious, chances are he will now show us what he is truly capable of. The Myokan faith symbolism exhibits him as the guardian of the North Star. The crescent symbol of Aida is known as the North Star, so it's pretty much clear that he's destined to fight the Bug Shinju. Hidari and Jura are together, which means if Boruto and Kawaki summon to fight them, Sarada and Himawari will remain safe for a while. The only person whose life is in danger is Konoha. Masuri could devour him out of nowhere, and maybe he will set the example for what happens to the Shinjus after preying on their instinctual target. Sarada's reaction on witnessing her father's evil avatar will also be worth watching. Maybe looking at her would trigger some human memories of Hidari, which would mark her first step towards the redemption arc. Or it could simply be the time for Sarada to show us the capability of her Mangekyo Sharingan. Some people even think her Mangekyo is the reason behind what redeemed Sasuke at first place. The same is expected for Hidari, but that would be lazy writing, and I really don't support that idea. However, an internal war of Hidari with his thoughts and feelings would be interesting to see nevertheless. I wonder if the Shinjus would become really impactful to the plot, which could even make them fan favorites. If something like that happens, their final moments could be the saddest part of the story that no one is ready for. Like, imagine Sarada building the same bond with Hidari that she shares with her father, and as pre-written by fate, she will have to choose her real father over him, which would be a really sad event to watch. Even Momoshiki at some point might have to make peace with Boruto or just wish him a heartful goodbye. But does he really mean so much to Boruto that his farewell would affect him so bad? I think the answer is a no, and you can check out the right video to find out why I think so. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.